My great stoic warriors, welcome back on another educational journey. Today we're going to discuss about burnout and emotional exhaustion. Get a cup of coffee. Hit that subscription button. Section 1. The Invisible Fire. Let's begin not with a checklist and not with a corporate slogan. Let's begin with a moment of absolute unfiltered honesty. If you are listening to this right now, chances are your alarm clock didn't just wake you up this morning. It felt like an indictment. You looked at the screen, saw the notifications, felt that immediate, familiar tightening in your chest, and thought to yourself, I don't know how much longer I can keep this pace up. You are not lazy. You have not lost your edge. You have not run out of talent, ambition, or discipline. What you are experiencing is the silent, systemic draining of your vital reserves. We call it burnout. We call it emotional exhaustion. But beneath those clinical terms lies a very human reality. You have been running a marathon at a sprinter's pace, carrying a backpack full of modern expectations, and your system is flashing a red warning light. For decades we have been told a beautiful, dangerous lie. We've been told that if we just optimize our calendars, download the right time management apps, wake up at 5 a.m. and drink enough caffeine, we can override the fundamental laws of human biology. We treat our minds and bodies like machines, expecting them to perform flawlessly, outputting consistent data day after day, without accounting for the emotional wear and tear of living in a hyper-connected, high-stress world. But here is the truth we must face today. Burnout is not a time management problem. It is an energy management problem. More importantly, it is an emotional regulation problem. When you are emotionally exhausted, you aren't just tired in your muscles. You are tired in your soul. Your empathy drops. Your cynicism spikes. The things that used to bring you joy feel like chores. You find yourself staring at a blank document or a task list for 45 minutes, unable to summon the cognitive willpower to start. Take a deep breath right now. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. Over the next 40 minutes, we are going to dismantle this engine of exhaustion. We aren't going to talk about superficial fixes like taking a bubble bath or downloading a meditation app for 5 minutes while your inbox explodes. In the background, we are going to dive deep into the neuroscience of why your brain feels fried. We will expose the myths that keep you trapped in this cycle. And most importantly, we will build a practical, bulletproof protocol to help you reclaim your energy, your focus, and your life. You did not get into this state overnight, and you will not get out of it in an hour. But by the time we finish today, you will have the exact blueprint needed to stop the bleeding, reset your nervous system, and transition from survival mode back into a state of thriving. Let's begin. Section 2. The Biology of the Wall. To beat an enemy, you have to understand how it operates. To control emotional exhaustion, we have to look under the hood at the biological reality of what is happening inside your nervous system. When you face chronic stress, whether that is a demanding boss, financial pressure, a mountain of domestic labor, or the ambient anxiety of our current economic climate, your body doesn't know the difference between a physical threat and a psychological one. To your brain's amygdala, a critical email from an executive triggers the exact same chemical cascade as a predator rustling in the bushes. Your system floods with cortisol and adrenaline. Your heart rate variability changes. Your blood pressure rises. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for logic, decision-making, planning, and emotional control, begins to go dark. Why? Because when you are under attack, you don't need to write a beautiful essay or think strategically about Q4 goals. You need to run, fight, or hide. The problem is that modern stress never stops. In the ancient world, a threat appeared. You ran away or fought it, the threat resolved, and your body entered a deep state of rest. Today, the threat is in your pocket. It sounds like a chime. It looks like a red bubble on your phone screen. It never goes to sleep. When cortisol remains chronically high in your system week after week, month after month, it causes profound physiological shifts. It disrupts your REM sleep, meaning even if you sleep for 8 hours, you wake up feeling like you've been hit by a truck because your brain never entered the deep, restorative stages of neurological cleanup. It impairs your hippocampus, making it harder to retain new information or remember simple details. Have you noticed lately that you're dropping keys, forgetting names, or losing your train of thought? That isn't early-onset cognitive decline. That is a brain marinated in stress hormones. Eventually, your body realizes that it cannot sustain this level of high-alert panic. To save you from physical collapse, your endocrine system pulls the emergency brake. This is the transition point from chronic stress to true burnout. Psychologist Herbert Freudenberger, who coined the term burnout in the 1970s, described it beautifully. It is a state of depletion where the internal fuel has been entirely consumed. When you hit this wall, your brain enters a state of conservation. It minimizes your emotional output. This is why a key symptom of burnout is depersonalization and cynicism. You start to look at your clients, your patients, your students, or your co-workers not as human beings but as obstacles. You find yourself thinking, I don't care anymore. Let it fail. Just leave me alone. This cynicism is actually a defense mechanism. Your subconscious mind is trying to shield you from further emotional expenditures. Because your account is overdrawn, it's trying to build a wall between you and the demands of the world. But hiding behind that wall creates a secondary crisis, a profound sense of inefficacy. You look at your diminished performance, you see that you aren't producing at your usual standard, and you begin to judge yourself harshly. You think, maybe I'm just not cut out for this. Maybe I'm a fraud. This creates a vicious, self-destructive loop. You feel exhausted, your performance drops, you feel guilty. You try to force yourself to work harder using sheer willpower, which drains your remaining energy, making you even more exhausted. To break this loop, we have to recognize that willpower is a finite resource. You cannot think your way out of a physiological burnout. You cannot argue with a nervous system that has decided it is no longer safe. We have to address the root causes, beginning with the mental traps that brought us here. Section 3. The 3 myths of modern productivity. Before we talk about solutions, we have to clear away the cultural trash that keeps us sick. We live in a society that values us based on our output. From the time we are children, we are praised for being busy, for being productive, for achieving. This has wired into our minds 3 dangerous myths that act as fuel for emotional exhaustion. Let's dismantle them one by one. Myth number 1. Rest is a reward for hard work. Think about how you structure your week. You tell yourself, if I can just push through this project, if I can just clear out my inbox by Friday night, then I will allow myself to rest this weekend. This is fundamentally backward. Rest is not a reward you earn after you have exhausted yourself. Rest is a prerequisite for doing good work in the first place. Imagine trying to drive a car across the country with that logic. You wouldn't say, if I can just drive this car another 500 miles on an empty tank, then I will reward it with gas. The car will stall on the side of the road. Your brain and body are no different. Rest is fuel. It is an investment. When you treat rest as a luxury that must be earned, you ensure that you will only ever rest when you have completely broken down. Myth number 2. Being accessible means being valuable. Because of smartphones, Slack, Teams, and instant messaging, we have confused immediate responsiveness with high performance. We feel a twitch every time our phone lights up. We respond to emails at 9:30 p.m. while sitting on the couch with our families, or at 6:15 a.m. before we've even brushed our teeth. We tell ourselves we're doing it to stay ahead, to be a team player. But what you are actually doing is teaching your brain that you are constantly on call. You are keeping your nervous system in a state of low-grade perpetual vigilance. You are never fully off. True value does not come from answering an email in 4 minutes. It comes from your deep, creative, strategic thinking. And deep thinking requires uninterrupted time. It requires a brain that knows it is safe from interruption. Every time you check a notification, it takes an average of 23 minutes to refocus your attention fully on your original task. you aren't being productive. You are fracturing your mind into 1,000 pieces. Myth number 3. If I don't do it, everything will fall apart. This is the trap of the hyper-responsible individual. It is the curse of the perfectionist, the caretaker, the high achiever. You carry the weight of your entire department, your entire family, or your entire business on your shoulders. You confuse setting boundaries with letting people down. Let's look closely at this. Often, our inability to delegate, say no, or step away isn't actually about external demands. It's about internal validation. We use busyness as a shield against vulnerability. As long as we are desperately needed by everyone around us, we don't have to face the uncomfortable silence of our own lives. We don't have to ask ourselves who we are when we aren't producing. If you want to control burnout, you have to accept a terrifying, liberating truth. The world will keep turning if you step away. Your company will survive if you don't answer that text tonight. Your family will adapt if you ask for help with domestic responsibilities. By refusing to step away, you are actually enabling a broken system, whether that system is an over-demanding workplace or an unequal division of labor at home. When you constantly step in to save the day at the expense of your health, no one else has to change because you are absorbing all the friction. It is time to stop absorbing the friction. It is time to let the system feel its own weight. Section 4. The Micro-Recovery Protocol. Now that we understand the biology and have shattered the myths, let's talk about strategy. How do we actually fix this? If you are in deep burnout, you cannot wait for a 2-week vacation to save you. Research shows that the stress-relieving benefits of a vacation disappear within 3 to 4 days of returning to work. Instead, we must implement what I call the micro-recovery protocol. These are daily, non-negotiable habits designed to complete the stress response cycle and protect your energy in real time. Step 1. Completing the stress cycle. In their groundbreaking work on burnout, Dr. Emily Nagoski and Dr. Amelia Nagoski highlighted a vital truth. Removing the stressor does not clear the stress from your body. Just because you finished the hard meeting or closed the laptop doesn't mean your body knows it's safe. The biological stress chemicals are still circulating in your blood. To clear them, you must give your body a physical signal that the danger has passed. The absolute fastest way to do this is through physical movement. It doesn't have to be a grueling workout. A 10-minute brisk walk where you swing your arms, a brief session of deep stretching on your floor, or even dancing to 2 of your favorite upbeat songs in your kitchen can be enough. This physical exertion releases the pent-up fight-or-flight energy, signaling to your brain that you have run away from the predator and are now safe back at camp. Step 2. The physiological sigh. What if you are stuck at your desk, in the middle of a high-stress workday, and feel your anxiety hitting a tipping point? You can't exactly get up and dance in the middle of an office or a classroom. In that moment, you use a biological hack, discovered by neuroscientists, called the physiological sigh. It is the fastest behavioral way to lower your autonomic arousal in real time. Here is how you do it. You take 2 quick inhales through your nose, followed by 1 long, slow exhale through your mouth. The first inhale is deep. The second inhale is a short, sharp sip of air right at the top to fully inflate the tiny air sacs in your lungs. Then, you sigh the air out slowly through your lips. Let's do one together right now. Inhale deep through your nose. Now another sharp sip of air, and blow it out slowly, letting everything collapse. Doing that just 3 times immediately triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, slowing your heart rate and pulling your brain out of acute panic mode. It costs $0, takes 10 seconds, and can be done anywhere. Step 3. The 90-minute focus and reset wave. Human beings are not designed to operate linearly. We operate in cycles called ultradian rhythms. Our brains can maintain high-level focus for roughly 90 to 120 minutes before needing a break. If you push past that 90-minute mark without stopping, your brain enters a deficit. You start making mistakes, your focus drifts, and your stress levels compound. To control this, build a hard rule into your workday. For every 90 minutes of focused work, you must take a 5-minute micro break. During those 5 minutes, you do not check social media or look at news headlines. That is not a break for your brain. That is just a different kind of digital stimulation. Instead, you change your physical environment. Stand up, walk to the window, look at something far away to reset your visual field. Get a glass of water or step outside into natural sunlight. Give your prefrontal cortex 5 minutes of absolute rest. By weaving these micro-recoveries into your day, you prevent stress from accumulating like snow during a blizzard. You clear the driveway as it falls, ensuring that by the time you reach the end of your workday, you aren't buried under a mountain of emotional exhaustion. Section 5. Structural Boundary Architecture. Micro-recoveries will save your day, but structural boundary architecture will save your career and your life. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are clear indicators of where you end and the rest of the world begins. When you lack boundaries, your life becomes a fluid mess where work bleeds into family time, family stress bleeds into work time, and personal time completely disappears. To control emotional exhaustion long-term, you must build 3 hard boundaries into your life: digital boundaries, temporal boundaries, and relational boundaries. First, the digital boundary. You must establish a digital sunset. Choose a time every single evening, whether that is 7 p.m., 8 p.m., or 2 hours before you go to sleep, where your work communications are completely shut down. Take work email off your personal phone. If your job absolutely requires you to have access, put the app inside a hidden folder or use settings that block notifications past a specific hour. When you leave your notifications on, your brain remains on high alert. You are essentially telling your subconscious mind, at any moment an unexpected demand could arrive that I must handle. That state of constant alertness is a primary driver of emotional exhaustion. Turn the world off so your mind can turn inward. Second, the temporal boundary. This is about how you start and end your day. Avoid looking at your smartphone for the first 30 minutes after you wake up. When you grab your phone first thing in the morning, you instantly inject other people's priorities, problems, panic, and agendas straight into your fresh consciousness. You start your day defensively, responding to the world instead of grounding yourself. Instead, spend those first 30 minutes drinking coffee, reading a book, stretching, or talking to your family. Start your day with intention, from a position of control. Similarly, create an end-of-work shutdown ritual. Spend the last 15 minutes of your workday reviewing what you accomplished, writing down your top 3 priorities for tomorrow, and then physically closing your laptop or walking out of your workspace. Say out loud to yourself, "The workday is done." This simple verbal cue helps your brain visually and psychologically close the door on work, allowing you to transition fully into your personal life. Third, the relational boundary. This is the hardest one, learning to say no without providing an over-elaborate explanation or an apology. When someone asks you to take on an extra project, join a committee, or commit to a social obligation that you do not have the emotional bandwidth to handle, your default response might be to say yes out of guilt, or to offer a long story about why you can't. Practice the clean no. Try phrases like, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I don't have the capacity to give this the attention it deserves right now," or "I'm focusing my energy on current commitments right now, so I'll have to pass on this." Notice that you aren't saying you don't have the time. You are saying you don't have the capacity. This shifts the conversation from a logistical problem to an energy management choice. Every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you are saying no to your own health, your peace of mind, and the people who love you. Choose wisely. Section 6. The return to agency. As we come to the end of our time today, let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Burnout makes you feel like a passive passenger in your own life. It robs you of your agency. It tricks you into believing that you are a victim of your circumstances, trapped on a treadmill that you cannot stop. But that is an illusion created by fatigue. You are not a victim. You are the architect of your life, and you hold the keys to your own recovery. Controlling burnout and emotional exhaustion is not about hoping your workplace changes, hoping your family suddenly anticipates your every need, or waiting for life to become simple. It is about deciding that your life, your mental health, and your peace of mind are worth fighting for. It is about recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup, and that taking care of yourself is the most responsible thing you can do for everyone else. Think about the people who rely on you, your kids, your partner, your team, your friends. Do they want a hollowed-out, cynical, exhausted version of you who is physically present but emotionally dead? Or do they want a present, vibrant, grounded version of you? When you choose to set boundaries, when you choose to rest, when you implement micro-recoveries, you aren't being selfish. You are preserving the best parts of yourself so you can give them to the things and people that matter most. Here is your challenge for the next 24 hours. Do not try to implement everything we discussed today all at once. Pick one thing. Maybe you will choose to try the physiological sigh 3 times during a stressful afternoon. Maybe you will decide to turn off work notifications at 7 p.m. tonight. Maybe you will choose to step away from your desk for 5 minutes, every 90 minutes to look out the window and breathe. Pick one small victory, claim it, protect it, and execute it flawlessly. Once that habit becomes second nature, add another. Step by step, boundary by boundary, you will reclaim your territory from the culture of exhaustion. You are strong enough to handle hard work, but you are also human enough to require deep rest. Honor your limits. Protect your energy. Remember who you are when you aren't just surviving. Thank you for your time, your focus, and your commitment to your own well-being. Take a deep breath, step out into the world, and go reclaim your energy.